Andy, it's the elephant in the room.
Well, I heard you got new heads, so I figure I better.
Oh, you saw my fancy cylinder head there, huh?
Yeah, your fancy.
I paid a whopping $30 for that.
Well, that's yeah. I don't think we'll use it.
It's kind of like the exact opposite of what you've got here. So if you guys ever want to know what like a triple throwdown all-in street Hemi looks like, or is made of, here it is. Okay, so you picked this up over at Barton's.
Right. So we took this to Ray Barton's, and he did the machine work, did the crankshaft, connecting rods, the pistons, and balanced it.
Well, let's roll this over.
And we got it back.
So down here we've got a new Molnar standard throw crank, a 3.75 crank. We've got some H-beam Molnar connecting rods, standard length. We've got diamond pistons. Not sure the compression ratio, but they look to be approximately 10, 10.5 to 1 or thereabouts.
Correct.
He surfaced. He didn't deck the block, but he surfaced everything.
Right. Still standard bore.
Still standard bore. He went 2 over. He honed it 2 over.
Honed it 2 over.
2,000s over. So, and then he put cam bearings in here. Now, explain what happened with that.
Right. So, when he this block did not have cam bearings in it, so I asked him to put cam bearings in it. When he mic'd it, one of the cam bearing journals was 8 thousandths constricted.
Okay.
And so if he would have punched in the bearings, it would have
grabbed
the cam and wiped it out.
Right. Which is specifically exactly. I get a lot of people like, I used cam bearings. What you just said there is specifically exactly right, because if you were doing this at home, okay, and you missed that slight constriction in the cam in the bore, you would put a fresh bearing in there, you'd put your cam in, it would run for, I don't know, just a short period of time, and it would grab the bearing and spin it out. When it does that, you say goodbye to the block, because you can't, that's it, it's done.
Right. So thankfully Ray had the machine to go in there and remount the cam bearing journals and then reinstall the bearings and make it work. As he told me from the factory, they reamed out the bearing surface.
They install the bearings first, then they finish it that way. But who has that machine?
Who has that
Ray
machine?
Barton has that machine. Right.
Well, he had the ability to do it. So, thankfully, we took it to Ray. Ray was able to machine that out. He test fitted a camshaft, no problems now in the camshaft. Clearances are good. The bottom end's balanced, and
it's ready to go in.
We are ready to.
It needs paint, right? That's about it.
Yep, that's about it.
Okay. So now what we've been doing here this morning is going over inventory, because here's how we're going to do this. Andy's only going to be here for today, and he's finishing up the small things on the car. He's running the fuel lines, he's putting the shifter in it. But what we want to do is he's going to come back for a weekend, a 3-day weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And we're going to assemble everything here and put it in a car and get it running live. So it's going to be over the course of 2 days. We're going to shoot, Saturday we'll put all of this stuff together. Sunday we'll get it in the car, get it set up, and get it running and live.
Should be great.
I think it'll be interesting.
And it'll just go together super smooth.
Of course, no problems.
No problems whatsoever.
But what we're doing is we're going over stuff to make sure that there aren't any problems. So let's talk about some of the things that you've picked up. We know about the cam and the lifters. We saw the new old stock lifters last week.
Right.
The cam is sitting here. We've got new springs for this thing, but it's got an inner. It's a triple spring, so they need to be, the inners have to come out for the break-in and then reassembled. So it's like an extra step. It's going to take a lot of extra time on this thing. And I have never in my life changed valve springs on a Hemi with the head on the engine.
Yep.
But you found
the tool. A guy that has done it, and we have a tool for it.
Where is the tool?
The tool is potentially right.
Yeah, you find the tool, and I'll. So we've got Compass set us up with the camshaft and all of the. Well, he didn't give it to us. He bought the stuff. My buddy Shane Polito, who's an engineer over there, ground the cam. We'll get into the cam specs and all of that when we go to put it back together again. And he's got those new old stock lifters that we showed the last time we were here. Bell housing. So the original Chrysler 4-speed starter. 4-speed Hemi cars, 1966 through 69, have 172 tooth flywheel, and they use a special starter. It's a direct drive starter. It weighs a good 45 pounds, 45 pounds. I mean, it's ridiculous. The whole thing is cast iron. And they use it on taxi cabs also. That was the actual application for it. So these starters are finicky, they have issues, they have problems, so you picked up an aftermarket starter. It's a replacement for that.
Right. So we have a little clockable
Mini starter.
mini starter, Rob MC. So that should fit in there nicely, go with the 172 tooth flywheel.
Right, there's
And
some
be-
measurements we're gonna have to make once the flywheel is on the engine, the bell housing is bolted up to it, and then we have to check depth and all of that, but we've got the shims for it, so that won't be a problem. So this is the spring compressor. This is a neat piece. So this is used over the rocker shaft, that
This will sit over
sits over the spring itself.
over the spring.
And these bolt-on pieces, with them bolted on, you do the exhaust, is it? And then when you go to do the intake side, you take these off. So it's an ingenious little device. It's a homemade thing. I love that.
Would be interesting, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to steal that from you after this is done.
That's right, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, so, because then we have to break in the cam with just one spring on it,
And then,
and then we'll have to get the pistons up the top of the center, hold it, get the valves held, and then crank off the valve.
you managed to find a new old stock throw-up bearing.
I did.
Right, look at this.
So just the bearing itself, we knocked the old bearing off.
This is the original piece from the car, and you got the actual bearing itself. So that's all pressed on and ready to go.
Yeah.
Getting a new clutch for it. You don't stop with the new old stock trinkets, do you?
I try not to.
So what we have here for his Presto Light distributor, which is in really nice shape. I mean, it's in beautiful shape, but that's not enough for this guy. So he goes out and he buys a new old stock breaker plate with new old stock points and condenser. Like this is good stuff, and it's like, ooh,
It's like butter.
it's like butter. It's amazing. You know, if you're used to dealing with the old stuff like I am, when you feel something like this, that's like magic. I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so
You got your new old stock Autolite 63 plugs. What else? There were other things that
we
you were
talked about the
showing me.
lifters last time.
Yeah.
I think that's really where we are. The carbs have already been gone through.
Yeah, we went through the carburetors. If you want to see that, you can go back to like the first or the second
Yeah.
installment we did on this.
Yeah. Fuel lines are run. New shifters, Hurst shifters going in. We covered that already. I think
I guess that's it.
we're going to be ready for reassembly.
So it'll be towards the end of this month. Figure the last weekend. Is that about
I would
right?
definitely want to do it in October. My work schedule will
Yeah.
dictate.
Yeah. So we don't have an actual date for this yet. It'll happen sometime, most likely in October, if not maybe the first week of November. But we'll give you guys plenty of notice. And like I said, it's going to be a live thing. We'll take all of this stuff, assemble it. It'll take us a good 10, 12 hours to round all of this stuff up and put it together. And then the next day, and we'll paint it. It'll
Paint it.
dry overnight.
Yep.
And then the next day, we'll stick it on the car, make all our connections, do the break-in on the cam and all that, and we're going to do all of this live. So,
Yeah,
It'll be fun.
That'll be good.
yeah.
Yep.
So, there you go. Anything else you want to?
I'll see you tomorrow, but I really won't.
I say that. That's my job.
Yeah. Well,
You won't see it.
somebody in the comments said nobody else ever said it,
Well, yeah,
so I just did.
you did a pretty good job of it, too. I'll see you tomorrow.
And I'll see you in October.
I did it better.
You did.
Yeah.